This gaming laptop has separate CPU and GPU boards. It's XMG's Neo 16 gaming laptop, and XMG have sponsored this video at CES 2025 for me to show you all the improvements. Instead of a traditional motherboard that has both the CPU and GPU soldered to it, this new design has one board for the CPU and RAM and another for the GPU. These boards connect together with 8 lanes of PCIe Gen 5, meaning that different combinations of CPUs and GPUs can be configured together by XMG. This design helps improve repairability too. If your GPU dies one day due to some issue, XMG can replace the board with the GPU instead of the whole motherboard. Now, right up front, I need to disclose that, unfortunately, XMG is not able to promise, guarantee, or support upgrades to future generations of CPUs or GPUs. I know you're probably thinking, well, that sucks. What's the point? But I think this approach is smart and makes sense. Let me explain. At the end of the day, XMG is limited by AMD, Nvidia, and Intel. They aren't able to predict with certainty if future hardware will be compatible. And I can only imagine they don't want to end up in a situation like Alienware did with the Area 51M, which proposed an upgrade path that never ended up happening. Okay, so if you can't upgrade the individual boards, then what's the point? Well, this modular design makes it way easier for XMG to offer a larger variety of CPUs and GPUs for the Neo 16. Because you can pick your CPU from Intel or AMD and your GPU, they can just put the specific CPU and GPU boards in based on your custom order, instead of having to have a ton of different configurations of entire laptops in stock. Okay, great, but why do you care about life being easier for XMG? Well, because it means that you get more customization than ever before. Initially, the Neo 16 will be available with Intel's Core Ultra 9 275HX processor, Nvidia's RTX 5070 Ti, 5080 or 5090 graphics, and up to 96 gigs of DDR5 6400 memory, as this platform supports CSO DIMM, and the primary M.2 storage slot also supports faster PCIe Gen 5 speeds now. But XMG are also planning an AMD version of the Neo 16 too, featuring AMD's top-end Fire Range processors. And yes, I've confirmed that this includes the 9955HX3D with AMD's 3D V-Cache. Unlike some other brands, XMG are not restricting AMD to lower-tier graphics. Just for a quick recap, these new Zen 5-based processors go up to 16 cores, 32 threads, and 144 megabytes of cache. Based on what we've seen from the desktop versions, I'm expecting these to offer impressive gaming performance. I asked XMG if the new separate CPU and GPU board design contributed to them being able to offer an AMD version of the Neo 16, and was told that yes, it was a major factor. Before this new design, they would have to have stock of a bunch of laptops with Intel and AMD mainboards and different GPUs stuck to them. And then all of that all over again if you want to have different screen options available. That's a lot of SKUs to manage. But now they can just have a stack of CPU and GPU boards and assemble them into the laptop based on what the customer orders. Instead of liquid metal, they're planning on using the popular Honeywell PTM7958, as it offers a better balance of performance and usability. Liquid metal just makes things more complex, should they need to change the CPU or GPU boards. Plus, the die size of Intel's Arrow Lake HX is larger than Raptor Lake HX, so there's more room for heat transfer, which makes liquid metal less important anyway. At first, this new design was giving me Framework 16 vibes. However, I'm told it's much more involved to change these CPU and GPU boards, mostly because you'd have to remove the cooler and thermal interface material, whereas the Framework has a GPU module that slots into the back, a much faster and easier process. The upside of XMG's version is superior cooling. It can run the GPU up to 175 watts and the CPU up to 110 watts for a combined 285 watts of power. Meanwhile, the Framework is limited with separate cooling for its CPU and GPU boards. The Framework also only has a single Type-C port on the back for the GPU module, while XMG's Neo 16 has multiple ports in the rear. Some other things to get out of the way. You cannot use the GPU board as a standalone GPU. It only boots with a trusted mainboard. Discrete graphics are required for the laptop to boot. It's also not possible to upgrade within the same CPU CPU or GPU generation. So you can't go from a Ryzen 7 to Ryzen 9 processor, or even from a 5070 Ti to a 5090 if you want. It's also not possible to send the laptop back to XMG to upgrade the parts for you, due to challenges associated with managing second-hand used boards. The 2025 version of the Neo 16 is only slightly bigger than last gen, just 7mm deeper and 1mm thicker now. But honestly, I can't say I thought it felt noticeably bigger when I was getting hands-on with it. There's also an optional mini LED screen this year, which is awesome, as a premium screen option was one of the few things I felt was missing from last year's Neo 16. The 2560 by 1600 mini LED display goes up to 300Hz with up to 1000 nits of brightness, so it should look great. They didn't have one on display at CES, but I've seen this panel spec before in action. The standard 500 nit 2560 by 1600 panel is still available, but it's got a faster refresh rate now, up from 240Hz to 300Hz, which will likely improve screen response time. Build quality has improved too. It's still got an aluminum lid, interior, and bottom panel, but now there's a tighter fit with the display, which minimizes screen wobble. The hinges definitely felt more sturdy than the 2024 model, which was already a big improvement over the 2023 model. The light bar on the front gets bigger too, which is perfect, as we all know more RGB equals more FPS. The ports are a bit different this year too. The 2.5GB Ethernet port is on the left side now instead of the back, but there's still a USB Type-C, and it's using faster 3.2 Gen 2 instead of Gen 1 this year. There's also a USB-A and 3.5 audio combo jack here. The right side still has an SD card slot and two USB Type-A ports. And that SD card supports SD Express now, which uses PCIe to reach much faster 900MB/s speeds. The back still has a second USB Type-C port, Thunderbolt 4 for the Intel configuration, or USB 3.2 Gen 2 for AMD, both with DisplayPort coming from the integrated graphics, and 140 watts of Type-C charging. There's also the power input and HDMI 2.1, but now the new 2025 model adds mini DisplayPort 2.1 to the NVIDIA graphics. And of course, we've still got the liquid cooling port back here too. The XMG Oasis liquid cooler connector doesn't use magnets anymore, but instead now has a locking mechanism to securely hold it in place. The magnet design was cool, but this definitely feels like it'll do a better job at keeping the tubes in place if you bump it. The connector is not backwards compatible with older XMG Oasis tubing, but you can still use an older Oasis cooler with new tubing. The pump in the Oasis cooler has a small upgrade too, making it run a bit quieter than before. Air cooling gets improved as well. The side air exhaust vents have been removed this year, making room for larger fans. It's also got larger heat sinks, higher air pressure, and there's now a third fan which has its own intake vent on the bottom panel and blows cool air over the RAM and CPU heat pipes, exiting through the vents on the back. Liquid cooling is also improved, as the length of the water tunnel is longer now, providing more surface contact. They're using a higher wattage 420 watt charger this year for the RTX 5080 and 5090 models, but it's almost as light and compact as last year's 330 watt charger thanks to silicon carbide technology. Apparently the 330 watt version could have some limits when it came to power spikes, with a lot of devices connected to the laptop while charging under full load, so this ensures you'll have plenty of power. Combined with the fact the improved cooling solution supports higher sustained CPU and GPU power levels, higher wattage was needed this generation. Otherwise, the keyboard still has perky RGB backlighting and 1.4mm of key travel, but with an improved scissor switch mechanism, it's meant to have a better feel. I tried typing on the old and new ones, but had a difficult time feeling the difference. You can pre-order XMG's Neo 16 from the end of February on Bestware, with sales expected to start from the beginning of March. XMG's sister brand is also introducing their first 18-inch laptop, the Schenker Key 18 Pro, which they're saying is a true desktop replacement. This all-aluminum laptop is on the larger side, but this just means it can fit so much more in there. Not only is it using Intel's latest Core Ultra 9 275HX processor, and up to NVIDIA's RTX 5090 graphics and maximum power limit, but it's also got 4 RAM slots and 4 SSD slots, a level of upgradability I've only seen from a couple of other laptops before. This means you can install up to 192 32 gigs of RAM, which is currently Intel's maximum specification. One of the M.2 slots supports faster PCIe Gen 5 storage too, and faster SSDs like this need to be cooled to sustain high levels of performance. And thermal pads are used on the bottom panel of both the Key 18 Pro and Neo 16. I've been told that XMG have been shipping Gen 5 SSDs for over a year in the Key 17 Pro without any issues, so they've got a good track record of getting the most out of these super fast drives. There's even space for a subwoofer inside, making this their only laptop offering that. The ports are unique, with dual 2.5 gigabit Ethernet ports on the back, HDMI 2.1, and the power input. If you're wondering why you might need 2 network ports, don't worry, you're not alone. It turns out it's useful in professional environments where you may have separate networks. So this would let you connect to 2 physical links at once. Otherwise, the right side has a micro SD card slot and 2 Thunderbolt 5 Type-C ports, which support the latest DisplayPort 2.1 and have direct connections to the discrete graphics, while the left has 2 USB Type-A ports and a 3.5mm audio combo jack. It's got 2 16x10 screen options, both with 100% DCI P3 coverage and G-Sync support. There's a brighter and faster 2560x1600 panel, or 3840 by 2400 if you prefer more pixels. XMG are considering offering this chassis as a gaming laptop. They're just waiting for confirmation around supported memory speeds. They want all 4 slots to support speeds fast enough for gamers. So if that's a model that you're interested in, let them know down in the comments. XMG also had their refreshed Evo 14 and Evo 15 laptops that first came out last year. Both of these laptops now have up to AMD Ryzen AI9 HX370 processor, 96 gigs of RAM, 16 terabytes of storage, and the largest possible 99 watt-hour battery. The main update here is the choice of Zen 5 processors. You can select from Strix Point or Kraken Point processors, and these are the first laptops I've seen with SODIMM memory support for these processors. Other laptops with the Ryzen AI9 HX370 processor until now have all had onboard memory that cannot be upgraded. These Ultrabook style machines prioritize a thinner, more portable size, so they don't have discrete graphics, but you could definitely do some gaming on the RDNA 3.5 based integrated graphics. With some FSR, I've found that it can actually run modern games quite well, even at 1080p. Alright, here's the 2025 roadmap for XMG's upcoming products. The Neo 16 is scheduled for later in Q1, with the Evo 14 and 15 coming available later. They're also stopping the Neo 17 and Apex 17 Max, while the last gen Core 15, Fusion 15, Focus, and Pro will continue. Meanwhile, on the Schenker roadmap, the Key 18 Pro, that big 18-inch model, is also coming sometime later in Q1. Personally, I'm of course most interested in XMG's updated Neo 16. It's too bad that they're not able to offer upgrades with the new separate CPU and GPU board design, but I hope that this is just the first step towards that future. Make sure you're subscribed for my upcoming full review, but until then, you can check out the rest of the new gaming laptops coming out in 2025 in my CES coverage. I'll see you over in one of those videos next.